Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be explaining how Looksmaxing changed my life. And the reason why I'm making this video is for every single guy who feels like they're a victim of their circumstance. They feel like they have no control. And I feel like that's the biggest thing that Looksmaxing taught me. It just literally started giving me the feeling that I had control. So the time where I actually delved into Looksmaxing was when I actually low-key got my heart broken. So I was dating this chick and not really dating. We were just like speaking. And when we were speaking together, I'm gonna give you proper description of how this babe looked like. So she looked good. She was a little bit, I would say like average height, light skinned. She caught my eye. So the way we actually met was I thought she was someone else. And when I approached her to speak, unfortunately, I couldn't back out of the conversation. So I just finished the conversation. I was like, hey, let me grab your Insta. I don't even think I even grabbed an Insta. So I go back home and she followed me and she found my Insta and she was like, guess who this is? And I was like, oh, this is the pretty girl I met today. So we go speaking for a while, but things fell out simply because I felt like I was not just the guy who could control anything inside that relationship. I personally believe to this very day was because I was not confident in myself. I felt like she could have done better. I also felt like I could have also been way better of a person. That really was when I started looking on trying to improve overall. I was not a man who was okay enough to lead my own self, and I felt like I couldn't even lead someone else. I met this friend of mine at the time. His name is Sam. Like, shout out to Sam, I can't lie. And he was just like, the best thing you can ever do is improve yourself. Sam was heavily into Looksmaxing. Sam was trying to improve his life in every single area, not just only even Looksmaxing, like self-improvements. One of his goals was actually to become a model. All the crazy thing was I was just angry at myself. I found something to actually just pour in that anger and frustration. I was also not hitting the gym consistently at the time. So I started doubling down on the gym. I started doubling down on how to get my skin right, confronting the fact that like I got a heartbreak. I blamed myself for every single thing. It was the first time in my life that I would say like I took full accountability. It was just like I was very brutal with myself. I held myself up to a very, very stupidly high standard. And I was just like, I just want to see how much I could just improve for the next 6 months or for the next 1 year if I'm just trying to improve my skin, if I'm trying to go harder in the gym, if I'm trying to see how I can actually start getting my money up. Little did I know that I was actually starting to just like step into that self-improvement grind. And honestly, I never actually wanted to feel that way again. I never wanted to feel like I can't lead my own self, talk less of another person. I never wanted to feel like I didn't have my life in my own control. I never wanted to feel like I was not the guy worthy or not deserving of love. And that really was what just, I was pissed off during that time period. I can't lie, I was pissed off. I was just very, very annoyed within that time frame. That was the time period I learned how to approach women. I was binge watching how to approach more women, how to have the abundance in your lifestyle, in your life of women. I was looking for something that I could just control. And every single time I just stepped in, every single time I tried to just improve, I realized that with every single promise I kept to myself, I was starting to realize that my self-esteem was actually starting to climb up. What really was interesting was the kind of people that I was starting to draw into my life were becoming different. I also realized that every single time I also started to improve, it was more so I was compensated or I was rewarded for trying. For every single promise I kept to myself, I learned that my self-esteem started to climb higher and higher and higher. And I've never been someone who was really confident in his appearance, in his abilities, or in any of those things. And I told myself I was going to go to the gym, and I actually went to the gym. I realized that the body was forming and that trust was building. I was going to get a job. I was going to maximize my life because there was a time period where I was in the gym. I had a job. I also had uni at the time, and I was also building a business. But that time period was the most uncomfortable period of my life. But yet it's just the fact that I told myself I was going to do every single one of those things. And I stuck to my word. I never knew how much you just showing up for your own self. Me trying to lift weights translated to me wanting to lift my life outside of the gym. And it was just a very, very compounding thing. The reason why I made this video is because I just wanted to encourage one guy out there, even if it's just one person that I just speak to properly, that regardless of where you are in life, you have so much control. All I'm literally trying to tell you to do is find one thing you can control every single day. Do something every single day that's going to make your life better. If you're a gym bro, if you're someone who's already in the gym, I'm telling you that you should also start trying to lift your own life. If you're someone who is in a very dark place, I'm telling you that you should try and start showing up for yourself. That you will be proud. Like, just ask yourself, like, if I can just lock in, if I could just, like, those desires in your heart, don't you believe that they are worth actually you trying to explore them? Go on an adventure. Go on an adventure where you're going to fail. Go on an adventure where it's going to feel like life would slap you in the face. I just want you to view it through the lens of you are a champion. But right now, you're in the middle of the movie where you are a sucker, you're a loser, you have nothing going for you. Nothing really right now is working in your life. However, with every obstacle that you try and surpass, you realize that the movie gets more interesting. I still want you to still have that mindset that you will win in the end. You really will win. And that's one of the reasons why I just wanted to make this video. I just wanted to encourage one guy. I just wanted to encourage one person that you have so much control over your life. You have so much power in you. That's literally the end of the video. And if you're also a guy who wants to try and improve your own life, you want to gain control over your life, I'll tell you to book a call with a link, and I'd love to hear and speak with you personally. And with that said, peace, ladies and gentlemen. Have an amazing day. Have an amazing week.